Trainer. Hey. There we go.
Now we're talking.
Are we talking? We are talking.
We are talking.
What's up, people? Happy New Year. At least for me. I just got back from a nice long vacation. It wasn't supposed to be a vacation, but it was. Basically a whole month in Hawaii. And I'm stoked to be back in the studio. I feel like a rookie again.
It's good to have you back. It's been really funny just like scrambling together things. And like on the one, I felt bad because I was like, I didn't want you to feel like you're being like pushed out of the show. I was like, you're in Hawaii though. So
Oh no, I was fine.
I didn't want to bother you in Hawaii.
Well, you were in my house too, so
It's
I
funny.
figured I had my in there.
Yeah. I was like checking in. I was like, you don't have any packages, not going to get stolen, just checking on.
Actually, that was helpful, yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it's good to be back. It's a little chilly, but actually today's been nice. The weather's actually been great since I've been back, but Cali life's good. I think everyone's back on the sand and getting good weather to start the year.
Yeah.
So no complaints.
Yeah. It's been fun to see everyone back on the sand because, you know, I like walking up and down the Strand.
Yeah.
And
see everyone.
It was empty for so long. I was
Right.
like, damn, I'm not seeing anyone training.
I heard there was a few teams that just didn't really stop too much, though.
Yeah. Well, I
At
mean,
least on the men's side.
Chase and Troy
That's what I was thinking.
have never stopped. Chase plays more volleyball than I think anyone on the men's side
Interesting.
because he practices in the morning, and then I'll go out and see him at like 4 o'clock playing fours with some random people, and that's like every day. Chase plays so much volleyball.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bold strategy.
Yeah.
You know, I think he'd be more of the opposite. I mean, it's really a personality type of thing. It's like, you know, the Taylor crab, where we see Taylor out there playing sixes, fours, whatever, ace, all that fun volleyball or whatever. If you have the personality for it and you enjoy it, like, you're also thinking, okay, I'm getting reps. I'm touching the volleyball, so I'm getting better. But for a guy like Chase, like, how many jumps does that guy have on the hardwood on his knees, plus surgeries? I think he had a surgery or two. I think that's what ended his NBA career. And now he's just getting, like, for fun reps. And I know his strategy probably is, like, I'm going to go out and just get more touches than anybody this offseason.
Yeah.
And just be, you know, that much better going into the next year. It's just a different strategy than mine.
We were practicing with them on Friday, and I was asking him about it. I was like, dude, you never really stopped, and you're always playing fours. And he's like, I just play until my body starts to, you know, get agitated, and then I'll stop playing, and then I play more. He's like, my body just hasn't been agitated since I started playing beach.
Right. He's used to hurting for real.
That's what it reminded me of when we had Dodd on the podcast, and because him and Hovland would go play in Italy for like 5 months, and then come back right when beach started, play beach, and then right when beach ended, they go back to Italy. And Dodd was like, dude, after you go play indoor, the sand is a gift from the gods.
Yeah.
He's like, nothing can hurt you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably how Chase is, because not only is it hardwood, but he's not getting beat up by like 7-foot centers.
Right, yeah, getting elbows and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's good for that team too, because I know Troy doesn't have much reps on defense. And he's probably playing full-time defense, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. For a guy that touches higher than me, to be on defense.
Well, he's so freaking twitchy. Like, he just makes these. Obviously, he's not like a super fundamentally sound defender, just because he hasn't been back there much, and he just hasn't been playing volleyball that long.
Yeah,
but he just makes these plays because he's just so fast and athletic and twitchy that you're like, I didn't think you'd get that one.
Right. So in that sense, it's got to be helping them. We'll see. That's
a jumpy team.
A good team to really. It's a good team to watch out for.
Yeah.
Because now we didn't get to see them play with the Wilson ball together ever. Yeah. They kind of sampled the World Tour together a little bit. Yeah. But that's a full-time team now, right?
It's a full-time team.
I was surprised.
Me too. Because everything, all the men's side was just waiting on Chase. Because after Taylor had kind of decided, and you and Trevor had decided, then it was just Chase was the biggest blocker available, and Cam and Theo were a set thing. Right. And then no one was making any moves, and Nick Lucena came out and was just like, I'm trying to land either Chase or Andy. Right. And it was hilarious, dude. I'd walk by and I'd see Nick, say, morning, Nick, like, who you with? He's like, I'm with Chase today. I'd walk by and see Troy. Like, who are you with today, Troy? He's like, I'm practicing next to Chase and Nick. And so it was just like, it was very tense. The Real Housewives of Hermosa Beach.
Yeah, it was funny because Nick, he was kind of saying, oh, I'm going to play with Chase here. I was like, oh, tryouts, huh? Yeah. And he's like, no, not at all. I'm like, it sounds like tryouts. But in my mind, I was like, Nick's the hot commodity here. Bennis should be, this is my opinion, Bennis should be scratching and clawing to get Nick. And I think that Buttinger should have been like right on it. Like, I'll take Nick. I see the potential and like, wanting to play with a guy like Troy Young, and, if he figures out defense and he's that athletic, you're going to side out every time, right? So everything else is just a plus. In my mind, I was like, Nick still got it. Like, I think people give Nick less credit because he was with Phil, but he's still playing at a really high level. So I don't know if a partnership is set, but I know Chase is set, so therefore Andy's probably with Nick.
Andy and Nick are set.
Yeah.
And Jordan Chang's coaching.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
dude,
Jordan,
that's going to be good. Yeah. Andy's falling into a great situation now.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I feel like we had Andy on the podcast.
I don't know why it took so long, though.
I know. We had him on, like, this time last year. We're like, Andy Bennis, like, big-time promotion from Billy, has a career year with Billy, like, career finish.
Right.
And then gets picked up by Nick, like, one of the best defenders of this generation.
Yep. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, he should have been like, the second Nick asks him, is like, yep, let's go.
Yeah, well, I think...
I would have thought that. Not he should have been. But yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily totally Andy's choice, because I think Nick was...
waiting on Chase.
I think was sort of looking at both of them. And I don't know if Nick had, like, asked Chase to play and Chase said no, or if Nick was just, like, practiced with both, felt it out, asked Andy. So I don't know how it went. But, yeah, so Nick is with Andy, which is great for Andy.
I think it's great for Andy,
Yeah,
and I think it's best case scenario.
And he's, like, kind of bummed that he's not playing with Billy, because him and Billy were really tight. But I think,
tough.
Like, you got to...
Billy helped him get there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how the veteran path goes, though, when you have someone who's trying to make it to that top tier. Billy's obviously in the top tier, but top. And Andy he's probably, him and Theo probably, the Chase maybe, but are the biggest blockers. I'd say Theo and Andy.
Yeah, I think in terms of like who is the most intimidating blockers, it would be you, Theo, and Andy for sure. In terms of
I'm just saying size, like ability to get over the net.
Yeah.
Like those two get over further than me, I guess.
And the other one would be Logan Weber, who is playing with your old boy, Johnny Hayden.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Another thing I would think is great for Logan, where he's at in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I got Hayden about 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
But I hope his hand setting's good. Or is he a bump chowder guy?
Yeah.
He likes to bump?
I think, who, Logan?
No, yeah. Does Logan hand set?
Logan handsets.
Okay, good, yeah.
Now he does.
Okay, good. Because it's hard to hit Johnny on those little shooty all over the place if you're not hand setting.
Yeah, and him and Evan Corey, they had a good season last year, and they ran some fun stuff. And I mean, they won they were like the minor league champions of the AVP.
Yeah.
They won all the big minor league tournaments, and that's how they got into two of the main draws, is they won Wapaka to earn a bid to Manhattan, and then they won New Orleans, one of the two, to get a bid to Manhattan.
Yep.
And then they won, they beat me and A-Rob in Seaside in the finals there to get the bid into Chicago.
Got you. Yeah, so
a lot of changes happening.
Yeah, new names sliding up, like a lot of the same names, but new names sliding in a little bit. Old guys gone, Phil and Jake gone.
Yeah.
Finally.
You've been waiting for this moment for
I didn't want
long.
them to retire on their own terms. AVP-wise, they didn't maybe, but internationally they did.
Yeah. And Phil, he might not be done. We might see Phil on the
Phil will
AVP.
be out there. It'll be fun Phil, though, I think.
Yeah. A very different Phil.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. Well, how have things been with you getting back on the sand?
Great. So I was hitting it pretty hard while I was here, and then I went to Hawaii for second half of December, first half of January. Kept hitting the weight room. I was hitting it harder here. Obviously, I was with my trainer. so I was in really good shape going into there. And then I kind of cross-train out there. You know, I'm in the water 3 days a week, surfing, body surfing, whatever, 3 or 4 days a week. And then hitting the gym 3 days a week out there. So it was just staying in shape. And then once the new year came around, second half of the trip, we just started touching the balls with one of our coaches out in Hawaii, Danny Alvarez. He was the one of the assistants for University of Hawaii beach team for a while. And he's one of the guys that kind of like we grew up with, you know, at Outrigger. It was nice, though, to get like real good fundamental Hawaiian style reps. Yeah. And when I say Hawaiian style, it's like just they preach ball control, and people out there just have such a good feel for it. It's different. And it was really nice for me to hear that kind of feedback in a phase where I just wanted to build my fundamentals, passing and setting. So we got a lot of passing and setting reps in, came back here, passing and setting reps, speeding up. Every week it's like a little faster, started hitting the little balls, chip-in balls. I haven't even jumped yet, but that's kind of our trajectory. We're kind of looking at the schedule like we're going to be ready, not like last year when we weren't ready for Doha, CQ or whatever, but we don't want to step on the gas too soon. Yeah. Because, look, the schedule already got pushed back a week for us.
And you have events, Elite 16, scheduled for November.
Right, yeah. So no, yeah, it could be long.
No need to peak in February.
Well, that's the other thing. And actually, that's something we should discuss is, first of all, do you know how the current system works in terms of Challenger Series players moving to the Elite 16? Because so just to recap for everybody, FIVB system is now the futures. It's like the youth developmental, and then the Challenger Series, which is like the qualifying for the Elite 16 series. Yeah. And then the Elite 16, which is the top 16 teams in the world, no qualifier. But how do you, obviously the points, if you finish in the top of a Challenger event, those points are worth more than the bottom of a 16 event. But is there a time period that those points do or do not transfer over? Like that you're safe from getting past maybe if you're at bottom of the top 16? Or is it like one event, their points go higher, and then all of a sudden you're in?
It's a good question. I don't know, because I know that they're switching the point system to your best 3 out of 4 of your previous 4 finishes.
3 out of 4,
and
okay.
I think that's to encourage
from 4 out of 6
more mobility.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it was 4 out of 6, I mean, then it would be really, with only 9 Elite 16s on the schedule,
really hard to
3 challenges, it would be really, like, it would be stuck.
Yeah.
But now that it's 3 out of 4, I think that would encourage more mobility. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because Elite 16 teams can play down into challengers.
Right.
And people are wondering, they're saying, oh, is that fair? But if you lay an egg in a challenger, then you're throwing away your spot in the Elite 16, sort of.
Right.
So it doesn't make a ton of sense. You have to be pretty confident.
Right.
If you're in the Elite 16 to play a challenger, I think.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a good point.
And because if there's 9 Elite 16s, you know, and it's more money than a 4-star used to be. Mm-hmm. Like that's a good solid season.
It is. Yeah.
9 international events. You can count on at least 3 AVP events. So yeah.
Right.
So, 12 event season. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad if you're an Elite 16.
I can't believe AVP schedule hasn't come out. That'll be another discussion.
Yeah, so I think that they reduced the number of point events to encourage that mobility a little bit.
But like, so if you were to pass me, let's say, today, and we have an event next week, are you in and I'm out?
I think
because I know there's a sign up period too, right? The 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I think it would probably be that same like 21-day window. Or because the entry list comes out.
That would make sense.
Entry list comes out 21 days before. And so I think that anything after that is pushed to the next event.
Right. So if I sign up for an event, once that deadline passes, I'm in.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then if you lose a finish, you see it coming slowly. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like in 2 weeks, I'm screwed in 1 week.
Yeah. But at the moment, the Elite 16 guys are in pretty good shape because there's only 3 challengers.
Right.
And one of them's in November.
Well, and that's what I was telling my team is like, okay, yeah, we're in good position because we're in the Elite 16, but there's 3 challengers and 2 Elite 16s to start the year.
Yeah.
So there's more challengers than Elite 16s. They're gonna have their shot. Like teams are gonna have their shot in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't make it, you're screwed. Which obviously is a really not what the tour needs or wants. I think it sounds like Finn Taylor and Beach Volleyball World is aware of. They're definitely aware of the players' concerns, but they're gonna have a shot. Yeah. In the beginning, for sure. And Elite 16 teams better be ready and not come out sluggish. Because you might, if you start the year in the 16 and you don't go into that middle chunk of like 8 events in a row in the 16, you're going to be
you're missing out on a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I just had lunch with Therese Cannon and Sarah Sponsel, who's the new team.
Right.
Our women, so Therese and Sarah are going to start. They're like number 7. They're high. Because Sarah has so many points.
They're a 7 seed? Or a 7
I think so. That's
rank?
What? That's what they kind of estimated. I'd have to double check. I haven't fact checked that one.
So they're a top team?
They'll be in Elite 16.
Sponsel and Cannon of the U.S. is top team.
But I don't know if they're above Kelly and Betsy.
Oh,
I don't know how many points Betsy has because they're still figuring out the pregnancy points.
Oh, Betsy's got pregnancy points?
Yeah. But
she played a little already.
Yeah, but she only 2 events. And then, she would need to see if she gets 100% of her best 2 events from before, or just, I think, 75.
Yeah, I thought it was 75.
And so I think that they're still figuring that out.
And then who do we got?
And then it would be Sarah Hughes and Kelly Kulinski. Would that be 3?
Do you think they're in the 16?
Well, I don't know I don't think they'd be in 16, but would that be our 3rd ranked team?
I guess.
If April's not playing international, which
it sounds like
she's taking a break from international and playing domestic with Emily Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great.
So, which seems like it's worked out for everyone.
Jackpot.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty crazy couple weeks. All the partnerships seem to be solidifying.
Right.
And I think Emily Stockman, from what I've gathered, is playing with Megan Kraft.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stockman with Kraft. Interesting.
But the cool thing about that is that college players can't play AVPs during season, but they can play World Tour because you're representing the U.S. So they have a compliance exception for that. So Megan,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that's why Tina's she was able to kind of do half and half, and Sponsel when she was at UCLA was able to play some.
Gotcha.
So Emily and Megan could start.
She's good. I played with her in my USC Legends tournament. We took it home. I should have set her more though. I had Tony Torelli on the outside, and then some like 6'9" guy from the indoor team on the other side. So, but she was scooping.
Helpful. She's so good.
She's so good. Yeah.
She's awesome.
She was standing in there with the guys. I set her match point 1, and she just put her down.
And she's solid. So a lot of good teams. And then what I think that Kristen Nuss and Taryn Cloth.
Oh, they got to be like the.
So they stayed together, but they had 0 points.
Right. AVP, they're like the favorite.
Yeah, AVP.
FIVB, they're like unranked.
Yeah. And it was like, I was talking to Delaney about it because they're like such a team.
Right.
Like they're staying together, and they had like high level offers for both of them, and where they would have been in very good international shape. And they both said, no, we're sticking together as a team. But I don't know how they're supposed to get into an event.
Right, they're going to grind it out from the beginning.
Yeah, because you need to get a wild card.
I feel like they should don't play with each other internationally.
Yeah.
Only because you're not going to play with each other internationally anyway.
Right.
It's either don't play or go scoop up some points and then come back together.
Yeah.
But, I get it. But it might make their path to Paris
a little delayed.
Pretty difficult. Yeah. If it's starting next year.
Yeah. The only thing would be is if Norseca comes back to life, in which case Kristen and Taryn would win every Norseca they'd play in.
But what kind of points are you going to get?
You get 100.
So it's not much, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well.
So.
The girls' side's gnarly though.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell. Like with these partnerships, they're all good partnerships, but which one's going to be like they're going to click, really well. I really don't know.
Man, I love Kelly and Betsy.
It'd be fun to see what Betsy. She's never really like been able to like internationally just go for it. I feel like and be in the top tour and like against the top teams consistently. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what she can do.
Yeah, I was so impressed with her in Brazil because that was the first time like I was there like watching her play in person for most of the matches. Yeah. And dude, she's just like cold-blooded.
Yeah.
I mean, she like it was
her
like
demeanor
14-14 against Barbara and Carole, and they had blown a huge lead twice. And it was like in Brazil, stadium court, you just like let a 14-11 lead slide in the third set to 14-14, and Betsy, it looked like she was just out for a Monday morning stroll in Hermosa.
She always looks like that, yeah.
Cool customer. Yeah. Put it away, buried it. It was like, she's good. And she can hand set, so they can run the system that Kelly likes to run.
Can she bring gas, hitting wise?
I think she's terminal enough. And with Kelly's setting too.
It's like the one thing where it's like really hard to like get to the top of the world tour without like being able to just put it down on the sand quickly, Yeah. You got to be so good at shots and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think with how good her ball control is, Kelly's option is one of the best in the world.
Yeah, true.
And then Betsy's serve is insane.
Right, the float serve, right?
Yeah, it's the John Mayer school of surfing.
I still want to learn that one.
Yeah, that fast, like flat float that just like it just jams you.
Yeah, right at the back line.
So I'm pretty high on Kelly and Betsy.
Sponsel and Cannon, we said?
Sponsel Cannon.
That's kind of interesting. Same thing with Cannon. It's like,
yeah,
she's done some stuff. She's proven that she can ball, but like not at the top.
Yeah, she's kind of like in a similar trajectory as Andy, I feel like.
Right, yeah.
She's made the best of a lot of her promotions.
Right.
And dude, I got to give her so much credit from last year. Her year started losing in 6 straight country quotas.
Oh.
And it ended with...
And some were international, right? The Cancun ones, right?
Yeah, so Cancun, 3 straight. And then she went to Stade, followed by Rwanda, and lost in both. And then there was one more that she didn't make it out of. And then she took a 9th and a 2-star, silver. She won gold with Delaney in the Netherlands, and then won bronze at a 4-star with Sarah Hughes. Just like pushed through.
And then started rolling.
Yeah.
That's a good trajectory.
Yeah. And I forgot that they played together in 2018. They came out of the qualifier in Chicago and took 3rd.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So they played well. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah, no, those are some good, some very interesting matchups. It's like April and Alex leaving is just like...
Yeah.
Left question marks everywhere. Like, who's going to dominate this year?
Yeah.
Probably no one.
Yeah.
Maybe LSU girls, I don't know. They're still young.
Yeah.
They won one last year?
Won one, took a 5th, and then took a 3rd.
So that's, like, impressive, but you can't give them the cake on that. Right. I think it's just, like, even across the board. Like, a bunch of 8s across the board, but we don't know which one's going to jump to 10s, or, like, 9 10s, and which ones might... Chemistry might not be there, and they might slide to like a 7.
I think everyone, like all of them, will probably take a step back from where they were, because Kelly and Sarah had such good team chemistry, and they were cruising. And I think Kelly and Betsy can get there.
You can't play any better than they did pre-Olympics.
Yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. 2 straight gold medals is pretty good.
Insane.
So I think like everyone will take a small step back. It's just a matter of who's going to start refining their team identity and going up faster.
Yeah. And then you have like, Savvy, Zana, I don't know, Chrissy, who else? Like there's a lot of people we're not mentioning.
Yeah.
Kelly Reeves.
Yeah. There's just like so much talent on the women's side.
Yeah.
It's just kind of waiting.
It's so deep.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty deep on the guys' side in terms of top 8 teams, I'd say, right?
Yeah. I mean, between you and Trev, Taylor and Taylor, Kane Theo, Chase Troy, Andy Nick. Yeah, I think even like a Baranek and Avery is it.
I mean, they'll definitely give people.
Team.
Yeah, it's like what team's going to show up that week?
Yeah.
Billy playing with someone?
I don't know.
Travis Mewhirter? Timmy Brewster?
Right now I'm working the lefty magic with TB.
TB.
Yeah.
Timmy Brewster's only getting better, so not a bad investment.
And he works so hard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he just like, I mean, he took over our match. Both matches we played together at the end of the year, we won basically because people couldn't put a ball down.
Yeah, I saw these scooping balls.
Just scooping everything.
Yeah. This TB's got to take a little bit of that TB this year. Scoop more hard driven.
Very different styles of play.
I was going, ole. I just watched a lot of film this past year. I was like, oh man, I gotta dig these hard driven balls a little more.
Well, you got the same coach, so.
Yeah, no, I already, I'm on it. Like, it's so weird because I feel so confident digging these balls that I'm doing, but like my balance, I'm like trying to figure out all these pieces of defense, and it's like hurting my ability to just make the dig.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that'll.
Yeah.
I think that'll.
It's
change
hard when
this
you're
year.
trying new stuff. Like I'm working on, the biggest thing I've been working on this off season is like cleaning up my arms on my approach. Because like when I would approach, I come in like this and like cross them this way, and then when I like my backswing, I'm like going super wide.
Right.
And then my arm swing has to go like this way. It's just super inefficient.
Also, probably not good for your body.
And
your jump.
Yeah. And
if your arms go straight back and straight up, you're going out. If you go out, your momentum's.
And so I've actually been working with Delaney a lot on that. And so I've been trying to just like keep my arms like from doing that. And
you're probably used to having a basketball when you used to play basketball.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Putting your hands together.
Yeah.
Because I always was like, gosh, I can jump so much higher if I don't have this stupid basketball in my hands. I don't know.
So I've been working on that and then hitting the ball more out in front than up here. Because I shoot a lot. Yeah. And so I'm hitting the ball up here, and like you just can't hit good angles from up there. Like you can hit good shots, but in terms of like you can't get a ton of gas when you're here instead of here.
Yeah.
And so I've been working on that, but sometimes I'll just catch it so far in front, I'm just like shot putting it.
Right.
And so it's been frustrating first couple of
Changing
weeks.
things and working on stuff is a slippery slope. You know, like you have to be careful with it when you do it, but you can't not do it either.
Right.
Arm swing stuff, Jose is like, wanting me to get high, but when I work on my arm swing by myself, I'm looking to get contact out in front because that's where I can bring gas. So, but I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, wow, my shot from up here is like, I can do a bullet high line that no one's going to chase down from up here, but I still want to be able to bring gas.
Yeah.
So it's like a very fine line. You can't lose one or the other. Like the 45 is really like got to be kind of the perfect spot.
Yeah. Because I was watching the Brazilians. George Wanderley. I mean, he's hitting everything way out here. I mean, his cut shot he's like almost dunking it.
Right.
And then their young kid who made the finals, Renato Lima, really good, and he was just so far out and just real.
Well, you can see better too when it's in front of you. But your angles are not as good.
Yeah.
In terms of like getting the ball down quick.
Yeah.
And I was like very drop everything oriented until I was like, I just don't have gas from here.
Yeah.
And then I started getting in front. Now I have gas. But I think also like if you want that shot, you go get it up high.
Yeah.
You slide under and get it up high and drop it. And if you want to bring gas, you just go get it in front,
Yeah.
So you got to work on both.
Yeah. And so, I mean, now's the perfect time to work on it, but practices can just be so frustrating because
God, I suck.
We just started jumping, and I was like hitting balls, and everything I hit is in the tape because I'm just like getting it out here and hitting it down. I'm like, damn it. But then like watching it on film, it just looks so much smoother and like everything is more efficient. So it's just a matter of hitting it like it's a 2-inch difference that makes all the difference.
Also serving is different, right? Mm-hmm. So you want gas, hitting the ball up high is not.
Right. It's not going to help.
Unless you're hitting like a drop cut, like trying to make one drop short, it's not helping you.
Yeah.
You're hitting that straight trajectory either way.
Yeah. It's funny. The first thing that came back with it was serving because I'm setting myself.
Right.
And my timing is perfect because, you know?
Yeah.
But then when you're adding, because now my timing's a little jacked up because I'm waiting a little longer. And so everything's different. But the serve, I was like, oh, this feels really good.
Right, yeah. It's a good sign.
Yeah. Well, things are coming along.
Yeah. That's what off-season's for, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to implement my kind of new stuff. I feel like I've been working on a lot. Like I'm implementing a lot of stuff. It's not big, and I think it's basically stuff that I've been trying to implement for 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
It's like defense. Not that I've been bad at it, but like it's just taken a long time to like really come together while I'm giving half of my energy to blocking.
Right.
And it's funny, like I haven't really even thought about blocking this year.
Yeah.
Usually it's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. Life of a split blocking.
Yeah. Do you miss full-time blocking, or are you pretty happy as a splitter?
I take a lot of pride in my blocking. Like I personally, like when I have a conversation with myself, I'm like, I'm the best blocker, and I love, I want to, I guess, complicate and be really tactical and technical and get a lot of these reps. But I also know it's like, that's already a strength of mine. Like really getting even better at blocking isn't probably what's going to make the team succeed. It's going to be fine-tuning the other stuff around it. Me and Trev, like when Trev's at the net, I'm not at the net all the time. So like me getting even better at blocking isn't necessarily what's going to help us. So I focus more on defense. In terms of missing it, I just love playing the full sport. Like I don't like specializing.
Yeah.
So I'm like obsessed with defense now. Like I love it. It's really fascinating to me. But part of me is like, but I want to be the best blocker on tour. And then even if I have the best blocks per set, my total block count's going to be lower than the Theos and them. So I'm not going to get like
so like you could have
credit for it,
like blocks per attempted block.
Right, yeah. Well, I want to say last season me and Trevor had the most blocks if you combine our two.
Really?
So like the most team blocks.
That's funny.
But if you look at us on the list, I'm like, 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And Trevor's a little lower. I'm like, well, we're the best blocking team.
Yeah. Dude, looking at your guys' stats last year, because I use your volumetrics still, and I was just looking through your stats, and you had, I don't know, I want to say like 4 times as many blocks as Trevor, but your percentage, and I think he had more digs, but you had a higher percentage of like touches. So you were touching more balls, whatever position you were in.
No, that's like what I was saying.
Which
I was
is
like
a good
watching
sign.
film. I'm like, I'm there, but I'm like shanking balls because I'm in this like. What I figured out, it's actually really fascinating to me, was that, and I'm just applying it. We'll see if it works, but I'm like playing serve receive on defense because I'm so used to. I used to play indoors, right, where me leaning forward and getting the ball out front, like I'm kind of in serve receive and getting a full platform on it, it like worked well. So I kind of played that same, like, feet are a little wider, I'm dug in, and I'm trying to get a full platform on the ball digging, like I would be in serve receive. It was like the same mentality. But I couldn't get my platform on it. Like, in playing defense on the beach, you kind of have to get your body behind it. It's like reverse dodgeball is like what they call it. So now I'm coming in, like, I have my defense stance and the way that I dig, pass, whatever, and then I have my serve receive. It's like a very different thing now. I'm separating the two. And I think that's going to help me. Because if you approach defense the way you approach serve receive, you're going to be late on everything. Because you're used to having all that time and getting your body there and getting this big platform, like, set. Yeah. And I'm just, like, trying to do that, but spraying everything. Yeah. Like, I knew exactly where I was going. But I'm just late there. Yeah. So I'm just working on, that little defensive stuff.
What's been the hardest part about switching to defense? Well, not switching, I mean, you're still blocking, but picking it up.
It's just muscle memory, really. It's a different sport. You're doing something completely different. And for me, it's feel. Like, if I can tell my body what it feels like to do it right, then I just need to repeat that a bunch of times. Yeah. And it takes a long time. It takes years.
Yeah.
You know, unless I could like put in full-time training on defense, which I can't. Like I'm still trying to be one of the best blockers out there.
Yeah.
So I've just kind of accepted it. It takes time to get that feeling. But I think I get it. Like mentally it's starting to click for me.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing, patience, timing, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the touch, like digging a ball is different than passing a ball. I don't know. There's a lot to it. And then transitioning after as well.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard to get that muscle memory. So the whoop, like it gave me my like yearly analysis, right? And it's a you spent 42,000 minutes playing beach volleyball last year, which is like I think I forget how many hours it was, but I was like that would take me, if you're doing like the 10,000 hour rule, which I'm not a huge believer in, but that's like kind of the benchmark of what it takes to be excellent. That would take me, I think it was like 7 years of doing that just to get to the 10,000 hour rule. And I was like, that was so much volleyball.
Right.
And I'd have to do 7 more years of that.
Right.
Just to get to that like level where you begin to become professional.
Right. I mean, I almost like that. I think the whole like 10,000 hour rule is great. And also the whole like just play, you know, like how many people out here have we asked the question, what would your advice be for an up and coming beach volleyball player? And it's just go play, play. But what's the question for an up and coming beach volleyball player?
Yeah.
And I agree. You want to play, you want to be competing, you want to be enjoying it, getting those touches and learning new things, because it's like, if I can just do this, I can beat my friend or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
That's what you're learning. But like at our age, it's like me going out and doing what Chase is doing right now. And if it works for him, it obviously works for some people. It's just not. Like, that's not what I want to do at all. Yeah. It's just go play fours and, like, sixes and I'm just getting touches. Like, if I'm not touching the ball the right way, like the perfect technique, and I'm very technical. I love that part of it. Yeah. Then I'm getting worse. That's how I think of it. I'm not getting touches. I'm getting worse because I'm teaching my body to do it the wrong way. And I'm also probably going to win in fours, whether I play good or bad. So I'm teaching my body that I can do it the wrong way and get away with it. Yeah. So that's why when I hear it, I'm like, oh, no, not for me. I'm over that. Yeah. But there's a fine line there.
Yeah. I'm trying to be more selective about the volleyball I play.
Well, you also have been very early on. You were an up-and-coming beach volleyball player, but in your late 20s. And now you're getting to that point where you learn the rehab and you know, you got your international reps. You know where you stand and what your capabilities are at the moment. You probably have a good idea of where you think you can go. And now you can be more selective about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and now I think the biggest thing I'm trying to do this year that I didn't really have, well, we kind of had it last year with me and Adam, but it's just like building kind of a team. Like you've been big in that.
Oh, yeah.
Is building a team. And
structure.
So, you know, Christian Hartford, the trainer, he left for Oregon. So I'm actually working with this guy who I coach. His name's Nathan Michaels. And so he's like a sport-specific trainer. Mm-hmm. And he has me like out in his garage. He calls it the lab.
Oh,
he's like
wow,
all these things. It measures like explosiveness for trap bar and front squat. And so all of it is just specifically designed to be a vertical jumper, not like a lateral one. Mm-hmm. And so like got that part figured out. Pretty sure I'm going to play with Tim unless like, you know, I get a call from like a Casey or a Billy or someone where like it's an obvious you have to take
just throwing it out there, guys.
Yeah. Billy, I know you're available now.
Yeah, really.
So now, and then like we're working with Jose. So then you'd have kind of the biggest pillars down. You got your trainer, you got your partner, you got your coach.
Now you got to do the mental work.
Yeah.
Mental. You need the Gervais on there.
You got Michael Gervais on the pod.
That's true, okay. And you know Tim's down with all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think structure's one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle. Actually, I was watching that Man in the Arena, the Tom Brady.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
I only watched first 2 episodes.
Okay.
But it's 10 episodes, I think, of each year that Tom Brady's gone to the Super Bowl.
Oh, cool.
Win or lose, I think. Yeah, he hasn't won 10.
I think it was on 7.
Yeah, right. So, but whatever. They were talking about Belichick and when he became the head coach and what he brought to certain players. Like they came onto his team, and what changed. And the one player was like, he gave us structure. Like it was easy. There wasn't any other. We didn't have to figure stuff out or do this or that. It was like, do your job, and I'm going to tell you exactly what your job is, and you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to show up here. You're going to do that, do that, do that. Check all the boxes, and then you did your job.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, if it's all not structured and in place, it's like every day you're having to find yourself like, should I work out? Should I do this? Should I do that?
Yeah.
It's like that over time deciding is mentally draining, first of all. And it's also, you're going to lose every time that you choose not to, or you choose to or you forget because it's not on paper, or your trainer, no one's available to help you.
Yeah.
You lose that rep, and then over a year you lose a ton of it. You lost 15% of your potential, what you could have gained.
Yeah.
So structure for me is huge. I'm already taking a little more step this year with my team, getting us to schedule our film sessions. Like we're doing them together on these days every week. Like it's done. Before I was like, okay, what do you want to do this week? What should we watch? What should we do?
Right.
It's like, no, it's in the books. It's going to happen. So I already know how many hours we're going to log with it and how much better that's going to help us. And I still need a few things I'm trying to solidify in my like prehab, rehab kind of stuff. But yeah, no, structures.
Yeah, because structure
huge.
Creates discipline. Mm-hmm. And discipline. Have you read Jocko's book, Discipline Equals Freedom?
No.
It's really good. I mean, the basic concept is that the more disciplined you are, the more freedom you have, because you don't have all these choices that you need to make. Like, what do we do? It's like, you just know.
Right.
And then outside that box, like, you're totally free.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
And my parents were in town for 4 days, and we played a no-jump tournament on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I had one more lift left, and my mom was like, haven't you burned enough calories today? It's like, I can't miss lifts, Mom.
Yeah.
There's no choice. You have to do it.
You just go to work. Or the boss is going to be pissed.
Right. And you do it, and Nathan didn't yell at me, and I felt great, and we're good. We're moving
and that's
on.
The other thing, having a team, they hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to, you having to do your lift, but then also create your workout, and then have in your head, like, is this good enough? Am I doing the right stuff? That's a lot, too. It's draining, and it makes it a lot harder. You have your team. You just show up. You know when to show up. You know that he's going to give you your best workout. You know that he knows your body, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of having a team, for sure.
And the tough part is trying to figure out if, I think for most of the qualifier guys, for example, is this the right team? Everyone's always reassembling and messing around.
And I can't afford it.
Right.
I'm not quite there yet. You got to get to know yourself.
Yeah.
And be realistic with your goals and where you're at, and then surround yourself with people that align with those, and understand that it's a process. Like, it's taken me how many years to get this team that I have in place?
Yeah.
Like, a long time.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to be working for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you and Trev, you're building your you're calibrating, as Jose likes to call it. There's a calibration phase. When do you start kind of layering up to get to that point where you're going to be competing at
I think it's just
level?
a slow growth from here. Like, this week's been faster than last week. Similar reps, but faster. He had us competing, or not. Yeah, this week it's Monday. We kind of competing against each other a little bit in drills. He's just kind of getting our brain to like go at it. We're talking a bunch of smack already. Took care of Trevor today. He got me Friday, so I had to get him back. It's just a slow progression. I think we'll be jumping by next week, and then competing by in February. And as far as I'm concerned, ready to go in March, because I want to be ready to go a few weeks before, in case it's like we actually have to play in that qualifier. Right. Actually, we have country quotas or whatever. So be ready to go by March, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys should be good. Sweet Elite 16, right?
No, we're good. We're in.
Okay.
But I just, like, the system's not set. And, like, the international players association's freaking out right now.
Really?
Because of this system. The challengers players not getting any opportunity to move up, and I don't see anything wrong with beach volleyball, Volleyball World's plan. Like, I loved Finn Taylor and what he had to say on this podcast, but they're losing all these events and having trouble scheduling now because of COVID has ramped back up, and so the players are pissed because you're taking away opportunities, and us challenger, there's only 16 teams that can make a living now, which is BS, and I'm totally on board with the schedule just being BS. Like, that can't be the schedule.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that FIVB has a choice. Like, they're
right.
trying to, I guarantee they're trying to schedule these things and make it so their system that they literally just put in place, haven't even used yet, makes sense. So that the challenging series gives you opportunity to go to the 16 series. That's the whole point of it. It's called the challenging series.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything in time.
Yeah.
But I will say, I really like what that Beach Volleyball World's doing. Like, I like their business plan. I like them focusing on top 16. I'm biased because I'm in it right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the NBA. Look at any league. Like, if you make it, you're styling. You're in it. And it's a really good product.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you're just outside of it, you're grinding.
Yeah.
You're grinding in it, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be the Challenger Series. Like, we should be able to, make a living, like, comfortably on the Challenger Series, and, like, it sounds like people are starting to argue for that, and it's like, no. Like, you're in the D League.
Yeah.
People play in the D League to get to the NBA.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you're there. And if you're in the D League too long, you're out. You're like, right. You can't make a living. You got to retire. That's kind of how it should be. Like, we need the top product. We need the product that we're presenting the world to be good.
Yeah.
And I hope players don't lose sight of that.
And it's been funny because I had some players like text me like, dude, you got to write a story on just how ridiculous this is. Like, there's no Challengers events. And I was like, why are we entitled to Challenger and Futures events? Like, they're probably not going to be money-making enterprises.
For sure.
Like, the sport was bought by a hedge fund, right? So what's a hedge fund's goal? Like, its whole purpose of existence is to make money.
Yeah.
And it was the same hedge fund that bought Formula One, right? And so they came in, they pumped a ton of money in it, and if you look at Formula One now, it's pretty much broken into two classes, right? So you have the top three, which are virtually untouchable with Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, and then you have the middle class, right? But Formula One started just bankrolling because they focused on Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari and Red Bull, and they got bonuses like every time, and so the rich got richer, and like it's worked out sort of like for the fans and stuff. The product's huge. Formula One's enormous. The sport itself, like the drivers are kind of split on it, but if you're Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton, you're like, it's pretty good. If you're Anders Mole, it's going to work out.
Right.
And I'm not entitled to make a living on beach volleyball if I'm not one of the best in the world. I'm not entitled to having
on
events.
The world
I would love
tour,
to have them.
Yeah. Right.
But I think as players, we think that someone is obligated to give us stuff to play in.
Right.
When we're really not.
Yeah. And also we're always like, how is our sport going to grow? What's best for our sport? I'm like, what's best for our sport is for us to finally be an elite sport.
Right.
And what an elite sport is, professional sport, is a business. And what we are is entertainers within that business. That's how we work. Or else none of this exists.
Right.
Like, we're here to entertain fans, and we're not doing a good job of that. And also, no one wants to see a Challenger Series play. Like, the fans aren't going to show up much for Challenger events. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
On a global level, like, people are saying, this sport needs to be bigger. Like, more of us playing it doesn't mean this sport's going to succeed.
Right.
Like, that's what you're saying. Like, we need more people to play and more people to be able to make a living. Yeah. Like, no, if everyone makes a mediocre living, then we look like a mediocre-ass sport.
Yeah.
It has to be great at the top. There has to be something for everyone to strive for. And below that is not, there's going to be a line, which is 17 on, that is not going to be fun to be at.
Yeah. I think the Challengers will be great events to watch for beach volleyball fans.
Right.
I think the Elite 16s could be watchable
For the globe.
for casual sports fans.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be an NBA, a basketball fan to enjoy watching LeBron James.
Exactly.
But you would have to be a serious fan to watch
The D-League.
like the D-League.
Or even the worst
whatever.
team.
Yeah.
Like the
Wizards, I don't know.
The Wizards against the Bobcats, are they still there? You know?
Exactly.
Like, nobody even watches that game. And those guys are getting paid tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, and I'm what? Where am I ranked? 14th in the world? So I'm
You're on the
the edge.
cusp.
Like,
yeah.
I'm talking about myself in a lot of ways here. Like, I'm happy to... if I'm in this top 16 and I'm winning these events, I should be making 5 times the living, 5, 6 times the living, 10 times of what I was making in the qualifier or in the Challengers,
right.
or even on the back of the main draw.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I mean, that's been the sort of the basis of, you look at the McKibben 4-man. They didn't have like a qualifier. They just said, who are some really big entertaining names we can get?
Right.
They came, and the McKibbens just threw the first profitable event in the last 10 years.
Well, we don't want them to lose. We want them in the finals. People want to watch them. So we're going to make sure they're just starting the semis. Yeah. It's business. It is what it is. If you don't like it, don't sign up. I don't know.
And I think like things will work out. I don't think the schedule's done. I think that they'll have more events. I think that at the end of the day, no one will be happy, of course, because people are entitled to the world now. But
Volitics. Volitics.
But the schedule's not done.
Yeah.
And if people have a problem with it, I mean, the answer, winning solves so many problems in life. If you and your partner are having trouble, winning solves that problem.
Right.
If you're not making a lot of money, winning solves that problem.
Do better. What do you think it's like in the business world, in the real world? When we retire from volleyball, guys, what do you think it's going to be like? Like someone's going to be like, just hand you a job with good money. That's where you just have to perform at a mediocre level.
Yeah.
No, you're going to get paid mediocre if you do mediocre work.
Yeah. So, I hope the events, end up doing great. I hope they're profitable. I hope they get some fans, and they do as well as, as a Formula One did. Right. I think there is potential there because I think the sport is so entertaining.
Yeah.
My parents don't know anything about volleyball. And the Manhattan Beach Open's my dad's favorite sporting event.
Right.
And he's been to the Masters.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And he loved coming out to the Manhattan Beach Open.
Yeah.
Beach volleyball just has so many cool things going for it that are unique that I hope that, it doesn't get, we keep talking about making it super professional. But I think part of the beauty of it is how you can finish playing a match, step over the wall, and you're just chatting with fans.
With fans, yeah. No, for sure.
And my dad, when we were in New York, we walked back to the hotel with Phil and Nick.
Right.
My dad, afterwards, he's like, people can't walk back with LeBron.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, totally.
There's so many
we got to
good
keep that
things.
part of the sport for sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I think it'll work itself out.
Yeah. Well, and the with what you just said, like building these personalities, like people that people know. You have to introduce the players to the fans, like in a way so they can buy in and get to know the fans. That's why they did 16 teams. It's like we're going to focus on 16 players rather than 100 or however many,
Yeah.
And we're going to let everyone know who these 16 are. And then we're going to put tournaments where it's just these 16 in it.
Yeah.
And people are going to know them. They're going to be able to buy into teams, and that's how they emotionally invest in it.
And I think
it's a good strategy.
I think a good thing that they could do, and hopefully that I can help them do, because I work for Volleyball World, is because they have that race to the top 8 teams at the end. I think it's top 8 playing a championship,
like that, right?
And they should absolutely just be hammering that narrative, like
exactly.
What are the standings? Like that's what we're playing for.
Yep.
Because everyone, with golf and the FedEx Cup, everyone is following that. Like, that's the big thing now.
Yes.
Everyone's following the NFL playoff standings.
Every event
NBA.
should be, here's where they're at.
Right.
Oh, someone slid in. If they get this finish here, then they slide into the whatever.
And that's a narrative that people can follow.
We need a Super Bowl. We need a championship in our sport.
Yeah.
And that's something that we lack.
And that's becoming it. I think that has a chance to become sort of, and it's actual like a global, a real world championship.
Right.
When you win the Super Bowl, they're like, you're world champs.
Right.
Well, you're USA champ. You're national champs.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, no, I agree totally, and I think AVP tour should be like that too.
Agreed.
There should be a champion at the end, not a voting of Team of the Year award on Instagram. Like, someone should be holding a freaking trophy with a bonus from a big sponsor, and knowing that their name's going down on this trophy forever. Yeah. At the end of every year.
Yeah. Agreed.
And a ring too. I want a ring. No. Either way.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, I know Gab's got the studio.
Yeah. It's booked.
It's booked.
Our time we booked is up.
It's up. Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Good to reunite the team.
Happy New Year, everybody. The good things ahead.
Yeah. Here we go. We're back.
We're back, people. Let's go.